Ever wondered where Halloween originated? What if I told you its roots are over 2,000 years old? The tale begins with the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a celebration marking the end of the harvest season. It was a time when the Celts believed the boundary between the living and the dead blurred, and spirits could return to earth. To honor this occasion, the Celts lit bonfires, wore costumes, and performed rituals to appease the spirits. So the story of Halloween starts with the Celts' connection to the spirit world. As the Romans conquered Celtic lands, they brought along their own traditions. They fused their customs with the Celtic festival of Samhain. One such tradition was Feralia, a day dedicated to paying respects to the dead. The Romans also honored Pomona, the goddess of fruits and trees whose symbol was an apple. This might be the reason why we bob for apples on Halloween, and that, folks, might be how the game of apple bobbing came to be. Fast forward to the 8th century, and we see the church stepping into the picture. Pope Gregory III, in a strategic move, shifted All Saints' Day to the 1st of November. This was possibly an attempt to align it with the ancient and widely observed Samhain festival, thus easing the Celts' transition to Christianity. All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows' Day, was a time to honor all the saints, known and unknown. But the church didn't stop there. They introduced All Souls' Day on the 2nd of November, a day dedicated to praying for the souls of the departed. This three-day observance, beginning with All Hallows' Eve, All Saints' Day, and finally All Souls' Day, came to be known as the Triduum of All Hallowtide. And thus, All Hallows' Eve, the night before All Saints' Day, gradually evolved into what we now know as Halloween. But what about trick-or-treating and dressing up in costumes? Where did those traditions come from? Well, let's travel back to the Middle Ages, a time when All Souls' Day was observed by Christians. On this day, the poor would go door to door, offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food, a practice known as souling. The food given was often a soul cake, a small round cake which was believed to represent a soul being freed from purgatory when the cake was eaten. Meanwhile, as part of All Hallows' Eve celebrations, people started dressing up as saints, angels, and devils. This was not just an act of reverence, but also a way to embody these spiritual beings. This early form of costuming laid the groundwork for what we now recognize as the tradition of dressing up on Halloween. So, next time you're out trick-or-treating, remember, you're participating in a tradition that dates back centuries. So, we've seen how Halloween has evolved over the centuries, but what about Halloween today? In the present day, Halloween has become a cultural phenomenon, a night filled with fun, frights, and of course candy. One of the most beloved traditions is trick-or-treating, with children donning costumes and going door to door to collect sweets. But it's not just the kids who get to dress up. Adults also join in the fun, with elaborate costumes and themed parties becoming increasingly popular. Carving jack-o'-lanterns is another staple of Halloween. These lanterns, traditionally made from pumpkins, are often carved with ghoulish faces and lit from within to create a spooky effect. This tradition harks back to the Irish legend of Stingy Jack, a man who tricked the devil and was denied entry to both heaven and hell, doomed to wander the earth with only a carved-out turnip to light his way. Halloween is also a time for horror enthusiasts to indulge in their love of the macabre. Haunted houses and horror attractions pop up across cities, providing chilling experiences for those who enjoy a good scare. Moreover, it's a prime time for horror movies, with cinemas and television networks hosting horror movie marathons and new horror films often released in time for the spooky season. And it's not just in the United States where Halloween is celebrated. The holiday has spread across the globe, with countries adopting and adapting the tradition in unique ways. In Mexico, it coincides with the Day of the Dead, a vibrant celebration honoring deceased loved ones. In Japan, the Kawasaki Halloween Parade showcases thousands of participants in a variety of creative costumes. In the Philippines, Pangangalulua is a tradition where children go from house to house, singing and asking for prayers for those stuck in purgatory. And that, dear viewers, is the fascinating history of Halloween. a night of spooks and frights, rooted in ancient traditions and customs, celebrated worldwide in so many unique ways. Happy Halloween, everyone!